Cybersecurity, a new opportunity for the world. In the past, we've made a lot of money by creating money, by investing money, and by saving money. But we all know that the best times of the system are over. And now we need a new system, a new way of creating prosperity. So the question is how to do this. And maybe big data is the solution. We've often heard that big data is the new oil. In fact, it can create quite a bit of profit. And so it seems natural to move on from banks to data banks. But of course, you want to run some real-time applications, make money in real time, and so you need internet access. And once you're connected to the internet, then there are security threats out there. People could hack your system, and in fact, there's a lot of hacking going on. Cybercrime is exploding, and the saying is that everyone has been hacked already. Some just didn't notice it. Well, so basically what to do about it. And so today's approach is basically to consider everyone a potential suspect or intruder. And so you would collect data about everyone in order to assess the threat posed by that person or institution or computer system or whatever. And in fact, in this way, cybersecurity centers are collecting a lot of data. They're using artificial intelligence to analyze it. And it has been proposed to create such a cybersecurity center for the entire world in Geneva. It's probably already in operation for some time. In fact, CERN has a lot of computer capacity and it's very well connected to the entire world through the grid. Just there are some issues out there. Basically, this is a global surveillance center. And as the CIA Director Gus Hunt has said back in 2013, you're already a walking sensor platform. And it's really very nearly within our grasp to be able to compute on all human-generated information, he said. This includes your voice. Based on your voice profile, it's possible to identify your location and what you're saying and whom you're talking to. Face recognition is spreading, and you're all being profiled and targeted, all of you. A lot of data is being collected about us daily. And there are companies that know a lot about what you're doing and even what you're thinking. And they have a profile of your personality too. Now, this kind of information, unfortunately, can also be misused because the brain is very efficient. It runs on only 100 watts. That's much more efficient than an AI system or a supercomputer center. And so it takes shortcuts, makes simplifications, and it can be tricked. And in fact, methods have been developed in order to trick people with digital means. And so it becomes more and more difficult, in fact, to tell apart a real person from the digital double. Who is really doing a particular action or transaction right now? Is this a person or is it the double? And in order to figure that out, you need more and more and more and more and more data. And that can have unwanted side effects, unfortunately, such as manipulation of elections, dangerous propaganda, fake news epidemics, cyber mobbing, cyber attacks, discrimination, and maybe even eugenics. There's certainly dangers for democracy and human rights out there. So, how to go about creating a Swiss data lake or even a global data lake? Well, maybe we should listen to Steinmeier, who called for a democratization of the digital world. In fact, these kinds of things have also been discussed at the World Economic Forum some time ago, and has been demanded that there should be a balance between the interests of business, public, and private individuals. There should be informational self-determination, and people should benefit from sharing their personal data. So it's about time to build this platform for informational self-determination. Whenever personal data would be collected, that would be sent into a data mailbox, and you would be in control. You would decide who has access to what piece of your personal data for what purpose and period of time. All personalized services and products would be possible if you agree with this. You could restrict access, however, if you like so. In order to make it easy to deal with that management of personal data, you would have a digital assistant, a personal AI system that basically knows your preferences and pre-configures access to your data, and you have the final word, of course. Companies who would create new data would, of course, earn on the provision of that data whenever it's used, in particular in the first 2 years. Governments and scientists would have access to data to run statistics, and there would be a transparent reporting about personal use of data. So misuse would be really restricted because there would be a competition for trust in order to have access to personal data, and that would create eventually a trusted digital society. There would be huge benefits also for the economy. Namely, combinatorial innovation would be possible. Small and medium-sized companies, spin-off companies, NGOs, scientific institutions would also get potentially access to big data. So they could add to value creation and to the solution of the world's problems. The success principles of this information ecosystem would be co-learning, co-creation, coordination, cooperation, co-evolution, and collective intelligence, as well as combinatorial innovation. Now, we can certainly also learn from other countries. For example, Taiwan has invested into digital democracy, that means into upgrading democracy by digital means. So why don't we do this? Let us use big data and digital technologies for global prosperity and peace. And let us not forget that people are not a machine, and society isn't either. There are some things that cannot be measured well by big data, but are highly important for us in our lives, which is, for example, human dignity, love, freedom, and consciousness. So let's build a digital world that empowers people, that creates prosperity and peace. You can make an important contribution to this. Thank you.